Hey, and welcome to Century 21's Property Done Properly podcast. This is the fifth episode, and I'm delighted to say that we have one of our office franchisees, which is Tamara. Tamara Hadid runs our Century 21 Royale office, which is located in Kingston upon Thames. I have the pleasure of knowing Tamara since I started in the company. I think she's one of the very first offices that I went to visit when I took on my role as a business development manager. So hi, Tamara. Thank you for taking some time out of your normal busy day to be on our podcast.
Of course. Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. So I think really just to get to know a little bit about you, really, and how perhaps you and your family ended up in the UK.
Well, we're originally from Iraq.
Yeah.
And we left in the year 2000, moved to Jordan for a couple of years. And I think my family were looking for a better place for the family to live, for more opportunities for us when we were younger. And we had a lot of family and uncles living in the UK. We used to come for holidays. And then one day we came in and my dad looked at some local schools and discussed with me and my brothers the option of moving to the UK, which we then got really excited. We've been here for actually 20 years. So we moved here in 2003. I went to school and university in Kingston, and I was always in love with the area. That's why we decided to go for the business in Kingston.
So when you were growing up, what did you want to be? What did you want to be when you were an adult?
I mean, there was only ever two things I used to think of as a kid. One of them was being a teacher, and the other one was being a lawyer. These were the two dreams I had as a kid, I think.
So in that case, how did you end up getting into property in the end?
So my family were always very much involved in properties, say development and buying properties, doing them up, renting them out. We obviously started mainly in the Middle East, and then when we moved to the UK, we realized obviously the opportunities here are much better.
Yeah.
And I think I used to always go around with my dad as a kid to have a look at the properties, meet the tenants. And I just fell in love with the idea of meeting people and seeing everyone's home and how they look like and how they live. I was always very curious.
Yeah.
And for that reason, we thought it's one of the best businesses to get into because everybody needs a home at the end of the day. It's one of the few businesses that won't die out, and especially in the UK, the demand is always just incredible. Everyone dreams of living in London.
Yeah. So did you work in property before you took on your franchise?
I did not actually fully work in a company related to properties. I think all I did was helping my father, my uncles around with just organizing some repair work, certain certificates, little bits and pieces, but I absolutely fell in love with it.
So it was a big step for you then to want to go into the world of franchise, wasn't it?
It was absolutely, because I only worked in hospitalities up until the point of starting the company. But I think a huge part of it is customer service. It's just being honest, it's being there, it's making sure you listen to people's needs, being able to get it right. So it kind of helped to have the experience.
So at the beginning, what would you say you were most nervous about when it came to running your own estate agency business? What was your biggest worry?
I think at the very start, it was very difficult to find the right staff, I would say. It was always going to be managing staff, making sure you have an honest communication, making sure I'm offering what they need in terms for them to be offering a good service back. I do want to say that that's definitely part of it. And obviously as an estate agency that's starting up in a very highly competitive market in Kingston, there's about, I think I'm surrounded by 60 different estate agencies within 2-3 mile radius of my office. It was getting the first property on the books that was also quite difficult.
What was your first property? Can you remember?
Of course, I'll never forget it. It was number 17 High Down in Worcester Park. It was my first listing, and it was a sales listing.
Yeah.
I do remember that when we got the offer of the full asking price, me and the owners held hands and jumped up in the garden for a good 10 minutes. It was my first deal. It was their first time selling a property, and it was their home for 30 years.
Yeah.
To have hit the full asking price at that time was just incredible. Very rewarding, I want to say. And I'm still very much in touch with the buyers and the sellers, where we actually meet up at least once a year since then. Yeah.
I think you're one of our certainly in our top most passionate franchisees that we have in the Century 21. What made you pick the brand before?
To be honest, there was many reasons at that time. First of all, Century 21 is the world's largest estate agency. I mean, growing up, I've seen it on TV in Friends. I've seen it in movies by Cameron Diaz, Matt Damon, and they're all actors that I always like. So it was something I always kind of noticed in the background. Then we looked into it. I mean, 21 is my birthday and it's my favorite number. Previously, the branding was slightly different and it was yellow, which is also my favorite color. But also, most importantly, they didn't have one in Kingston. Whilst, like I said, almost all the other franchises were taken, and I got really lucky because it was the one I wanted. It was the biggest, and they didn't have it in Kingston with the number 21. So it just ticked all my boxes.
Then you're into your third term now, I believe, aren't you? So
Yeah,
excellent. So thank you for that.
thank you.
What do you like most about your day-to-day working as an estate agent? What would you say is the most
I think
rewarding?
at this stage, there's a few things that I love the most. I think I'm quite lucky because I've got a great team right now. So coming into the office, we have a lot of jokes, a lot of banter. So it's very motivational for me to come in every day. I also absolutely love meeting new people. And like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm very curious and I love to see how people live. I like to see their houses. I like to see the condition. So yeah, I think mainly if I don't have a great team, I may not be as in love as I am with the office and the work on a day-to-day basis. But I got quite lucky with that.
Good. Well, I think that speaks volumes for you as a owner of a business, but also in the fact that I think, and I've been when I first started looking after you way back when, I've seen you right at the bottom, if you like, where you've been almost tearing your hair out because you've had enough. But then if we look over your left shoulder as we speak to you, you've got some awards now that your offices have won, and just recently awards. It was great to see you get up there again and pick up another one. So that's testament to you and the team there in Kingston, 100%.
Thank you.
What do you think about the current market conditions that we're in?
To be honest, I do want to say this has been the toughest few months in the business in a very long time. I think, as I'm sure you know, the market is not where it used to be with the interest rates more than doubling. I've got a lot of people that are trying to sell their investment properties. They're just no longer bringing in the profit that they need to. But at the same time, buyers are very concerned to buy a property, to put any of their capital at the moment and anywhere, actually, not just properties and any business. I think it's a bit of a difficult time. It's a struggle, but thankfully at the same time, the lettings are always booming. The rental prices have gone up massively, but also that affected the amount of tenants moving because the rental prices have reached the top as where it is. Luckily, I want to say, because we have quite a few managed properties, so that's keeping us going for the time being. It does cover the cost. They generate you income on a monthly basis, which is really important. Yes, sales may not be as great, but it's just a period of time. I mean, it is the UK, it is London. It will always survive. It will always come back up, and I have no concerns for the long term. Maybe just for the next few months, and then I'm sure it will go back to where it was.
Some fair thoughts there, I think. Where do you see your business in 5 years? If we fast forward now to 2028, where will we see Tamara and Century 21 Royale?
I think you will still see us in Kingston. Hopefully we would have expanded, but I think mainly because my area is quite massive. Kingston Borough is huge. Initially I was thinking of expanding to Epsom, to other local areas, but then I realized that if I keep expanding without first being the best in my area, it might not be the best tactic. So hopefully in 5 years, I'll be even more well known. I'm going to try and grow our social media. I'm going to try and introduce a lot of new features that estate agencies are just not doing. I think we also offer viewings, valuations on a Sunday, which is already putting us ahead of a lot of our competition. And yes, hopefully in 5 years, C21 Royale in Kingston will be one of the best and well-known agencies. It's all about focusing on reputation.
I think you've definitely got the passion and the drive to be able to achieve that, that's for sure. But on a personal level, Tamara, it's always good to see you. It was great to see you last week at the awards and see you pick up your award. And I know in a few weeks' time, you're potentially getting married. So on behalf of everybody at C21, well, that's head office and our family of offices below us, we wish you and the future Mr. Tamara all the best. You have a great day. As I say, it's always great to see you, and I'll pop down and see you very soon.
I hope so. I just want to say one more thing as well. I want to thank everybody at C21 head office. I do have to say that if it wasn't for all your support, for all the help that I've received throughout the years, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be where I am today. It would be kind of impossible. I know you guys have been really patient, really understanding, but most importantly, really attentive to all of our needs. And I've seen actually the franchise has improved massively in the last few years, and with the plans for it to improve more and more in the future. And that's what motivates us to obviously stay together and try to all of us improve together. So thank you so much.
No problem. It's our pleasure, Tamara. So hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of your day. I'll leave you alone now so you can go out and win some more business.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely day, Andrew. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye.